in Colorado Springs that left 5 people dead. And we're hearing from the Army veteran who helped take him down. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is on the scene there for us. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Robin. You mentioned that hero. He broke his silence last night. He's a combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, and he said his training kicked in. He actually got the suspect from behind, yanking him down. Then he began to pummel him, all the while yelling instructions to other patrons to get the gun away, to call 911. He said in that moment, instinct told him it was kill or be killed.
Jesus.
Overnight, the man police have called a hero, speaking
By
to
the way,
reporters.
they're now calling the right wing is now calling this man gay. I want you guys to know what's happening. They're immediately embracing this shooter. They're saying, hey, if you don't want to get shot, don't be gay. And also, this man is an F slur. What's he doing bringing, his kids to a gay bar, so on and so forth.
I just ran over there, got him. I gotta kill this guy. He's gonna kill my kid. He's gonna kill my wife.
The decorated 14-year Army veteran
He's there with
credited
his wife.
with saving dozens.
I mean, yeah. No, he's trolling. I know. Yeah, the shooter's claiming to be non-binary. He's fucking trolling. The shooter's past is
during the nightclub massacre in Colorado Springs. Now
and also he's trolling.
Describing the moment he took the gunman down.
I grabbed him by the back of his little cheap armor thing, and I pulled him down. I grabbed the pistol from him, and I'm on top of him. I'm a big dude, man, and this guy was bigger. And I just kept wailing on him. He's trying to get his ammo.
Dude, I saw his face. His face got so up from the trans woman stepping on him.
Arrow, along with his wife and daughter, were at the club supporting a friend. They survived, but his daughter's boyfriend, Raymond Green Vance, was among the 5 killed. 19 others were wounded.
There are 5 people that I could not help, and one of which was family to me.
22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich was arrested on 10 preliminary charges, including 5 counts of first-degree murder and hate crimes.
Typically, there will be more charges in a case like this when we do formal charging.
This ring camera footage showing him surrendering to police in 2021.
This man got fucking arrested twice before this incident.
After allegedly making a bomb threat against his mother. Those charges were later dropped, his record sealed. And that, authorities say, is what allowed him to legally purchase that AR-style rifle, which he would allegedly use to murder Ashley Paw, Daniel Aston, and Raymond Vance Green, along with Kelly Loving, whose sister says she was always fighting for people, and Derek Rump, his mother telling us her son had a heart of gold. The rifle's bullets also striking patrons like Ed Sanders.
I got hit in the back.
Jesus.
And it felt...
Dude, the fucking Walmart shooting is terrifying too. A manager walked into the break room and shot his colleagues. That's insanity.
Like a mini explosion. And I turned around and looked at the guy, and then I noticed that he had a gun and he was shooting.
Sanders shot again in the leg, and Kelly Loving fatally wounded, both of them falling on top of drag queen Wyatt Kent.
Wow.
I stuck my hand out and I grabbed her hand and I just kept saying, keep squeezing my hand, baby. Keep squeezing my hand, baby.
Kent believes the 2 of them shielded him.
I'm just so thankful to her.
Because she saved your life.
I'm alive because of her.
But this morning, the survivors grateful and defiant.
I'm not going to be afraid or intimidated.
It's been incredible to see the courage of the survivors to experience it. Now, some of the survivors, including that hero Richard Fierro, saying they look forward to being in court, to staring down that suspect. But the suspect has not even been able to make his first appearance yet because I'm told he's still in the hospital with injuries that are considered significant. Robin.
All right, Matt, thanks so much.
Trigger warning, this does get a little emotional. Man who helped stop the Club Q shooter. This is the veteran that they're now calling gay. They're smearing him. They're just talking about this man like he's not a real human.
Green Vance's family says he had just landed a new job and couldn't wait to save enough money to get his own apartment. They say he was a kind, selfless young adult with his entire life ahead of him. He was at Club Q with his longtime girlfriend and her parents, including her father, Richard Fierro, who did help stop the gunman. but not before Raymond was fatally wounded. Now, Richard and I spoke just before airtime, and I do want to warn you, it is a raw, emotional discussion, and what he describes is as graphic as you might imagine. Major Fierro, so take us back to when the gunman first entered the club.
I know, I've seen a bit of this.
Because
it's
you're
pretty
quoted in the New York
sad.
Times as saying
This is pretty sad.
you went into combat mode. What instincts kicked in from your tours in Iraq and Afghanistan?
Listen, first of all, I just want to say this is in no way about me. My daughter is grieving the loss of her boyfriend. He was in our lives for 6 years. Raymond was a great young man. He was in his way to do some amazing things. And for me right now, it's about healing. I have 2 friends still in the hospital that were shot. My best friends here in the Springs. My whole Colorado Springs family was there. And so what I think I was doing was protecting my family, which is what I do. And sometimes to a fault. And I do things because I'm fight or flight. I think I tend to go fight a lot more. And I don't know if it's good or not. It doesn't matter. Either way, I went to the ground because as soon as I heard the rounds, I dove down. I pushed over my friend as best I could. And we both hit the ground, me and Chip. I put my back against I tried to stand up and I fell. And then I fell against it's like a bench seating. And at that point I saw the shooter. I had no idea what was going on, but apparently I saw him going to a patio area because I saw a lot of people in the window, or it may not even been a window left, but I saw a lot of people and this guy was there and I saw the ACU pattern flight vest. And for me, that was like, there's a handle, I'm getting it. So I ran across the room, grabbed the handle,
How you doing? Down, thanks for the follow.
And started to, actually, I think I went for his gun with him. His rifle flew in front of him. And the young man that tried to jump in there with me, we both either pulled him down or whatever, but he ended up at his head and right next to the AR. And then with the AR, I told him, push the AR, get the AR away from him. The kid pushed the AR. I don't know what his name was. And then I proceeded to take his other weapon, the pistol, and then just start hitting him where I could, but the armor's in the way. And I found a crease between his armor and his head, and I just started wailing away with his gun. And then I told the kid in front of me, kick him, keep kicking him. And I was.
What the hell is even that? Tinatoo.
Thank you so much, Jim, for the sub. 14 months. Thank you, Jim.
Brought him down. I was in mode. I was doing what I do downrange. I trained for this. I don't want to ever do this. I didn't even retire because I was done doing this stuff. It was too much, and it came in handy, and I got to protect my kid. I lost my kid's boyfriend. I tried to have everybody in there.
Wow.
I still feel bad that there's 5 people.
Jesus.
There's 5 people that didn't come home. And this guy, I told him while I was hitting him, I said, I'm going to kill you, man, because you tried to kill my friends. My family was in there. My little girl was in there with her.
We are so sorry for the loss that you and your family have gone through, for the loss of your daughter's boyfriend. And we are so sorry for your 2 friends that are still recovering in there. And I can't imagine going through what you and your family did, even with your training. Your training was for war zones. You trained to do that in combat.
If you actually do this stuff, it's in you. I was proud to be a soldier. I don't like these guys running around here doing G.I. Joe stuff, and they're not. I'm not a G.I. Joe. I'm just a normal guy, man. I'm protecting my family. And I reached up and I did what I had to do. And honestly, I don't care about myself in that moment. I cared about everybody that was around me, and I cared especially about my family. As soon as I got done with that guy and the cop came in, I went across the room and started first aid with my...
Oh yeah, didn't they f***ing arrested him for like an hour, and he was screaming, wanting to see his family. This guy who saved the more people from dying. They arrested him, and I love cops, as he's screaming about his family and wants to know if they're alive.
With my friend, who was shot in the chest and the legs and the arms. And I told her, Joanne, stay with me. Look me in the eye. Stay with me. And I moved her head so she wouldn't see her arm because he was shot.
Jesus Christ.
And Chip was right there. Her husband was reaching for her. So I put her hand in his hand so that they could be together. I didn't know if they were going to make it. This guy, man. This whole thing was a lot. My daughter and wife should have never experienced combat in Colorado Springs. And everybody in that building experienced combat that night, not to their own accord, but because they were forced to. And I told my daughter, for me downrange, it was always, hey, get in the next patrol. Get in the next patrol, and you're done. They get over it. Get in the next patrol. They don't have that option. Nobody in that building has the option to get on the next patrol. They got to live with this now until whenever it's a lot for any human, man. This kid that was helping me was kicking another human in the head, and I told him to do it. I don't know what to do, you know. There was a beautiful one of the performers was walking by when the kid was getting tired of kicking, and she helped and kicked him with the high heels that she had on, and then ran because she's probably scared. I don't know what's going on in there. I was trying to get people to call the police, and that was it. I told the mayor, I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy that wanted to protect his kids and his wife, and I still didn't get to protect her boyfriend.
Major, you helped a lot of people. You helped a lot of people, and no one should ever, ever go through what you or your family or the people in that bar went through that night. Tell us about Raymond Vance. Tell us about your daughter's boyfriend. How will you remember him?
I'm holding her hand, and they're going through a lot, man. She's 22, but she loved this boy. She's been with him. So we went to go see her junior prom date, little Wyatt.
So, fun fact about anchors. There's a reason why they don't show emotion. That doesn't mean they're not feeling it. In a little defense of like anchors and journalists, right? They're trained that if they show emotion, cry, then that takes the spotlight off of the interview that they're making, the person that is emotional alongside with them. And I can see that a little bit.
Kid was with her since elementary school. We got here in 2007 when I was still in the Army. Wyatt's been with her the whole time. Her best friend, we went to go see perform a drag show. He was amazing. Great kid. And then this happens, and my daughter loses her prom date, her boyfriend that she's been with forever. Her parent, his mom, we were telling her that we thought he was out there somewhere. She came by our house when we were at the hospital. I was dealing with the cops, and I'm trying to how do we get Raymond?
We're so sorry. I'm just so sorry. I see someone's rubbing your shoulder there. How are your wife? How are your wife and daughter doing?
They're hurting, man. They're hurting, but we got to do what we can. And we're strong, man. We walked out. I told the three of them when we were on our way home from the hospital, my daughter broke her knee.
Jesus.
I said, we got to be strong for the three of us. And last night when me and my daughter broke down, we both told each other we're going to be there for each other the whole time. Because we still got to get this guy, man. We got to face him in court. I feel no sorrow for that dude. I hope he's in the hospital hurting because he killed a family.
Major, you've been strong for a lot of people. Now people are going to be there for you and help take care of you, and you're going to take care of each other through this. I know it's not easy, and I know it's going to be a tough several days and weeks and months, and some of the pain's never going to go away, but you helped a lot of people. You helped a lot of people, and I want to thank you for what you've done, and I want to thank you for talking to us tonight, and please take care of yourself, your wife and daughter. Give them giant hugs for us.
Before you go, I want to apologize for the people that didn't get their kids. Because all of them deserve to have their kids home tonight.
There's no question about that. All those people deserve to be home with their families tonight, and they're not. Former Army Major.
I mean, I'm sure many of you have seen this, but this was his face when he was booked in. The man looks like shit. He got fucked up.
Richard Fierro, again, thank you for what you did.
Thank you.
You are a hero. Our best to you and your family.
Thank you.
Oh, there was another shooting, obviously. There was also a shooting in Virginia.
Another mass shooting, this time at a Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia, where local police say a store employee opened fire, killing 6 and sending others to the hospital.
We are truly saddened at the tragedy that took place in our community last night.
Cops say they received the first 911 call around 10:12 p.m. They declared the scene safe an hour later after the gunman was found dead from what they believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. As word of the shooting spread, family members showed up at a reunification center set up nearby the scene. This woman told WTKR in Virginia that her brother-in-law was an employee who was shot by the gunman.
Jesus.
What was really strange to us is that he clocks in at 10, so he hadn't even been there 10 minutes.
The woman says her brother-in-law was shot in the side, and doctors said he was talking, but they were still waiting to see how his condition progresses. She says they received the call while they were preparing Thanksgiving dinner.
We do our Thanksgiving dinner on Wednesday because he works at Walmart, so Black Friday, he has to prepare for that, so we always do it the day before. So we were up tonight preparing for tomorrow.
A Thanksgiving that another community will spend in mourning.
It just will not stop. It just will not fucking stop. We got new Steven Crowder being reactionary as well. There's a lot, actually. Okay, Jessie Gender has something to say about the shooting in Colorado Springs. I want to see what she has to say.
I hope you're all doing well, especially in light of recent events. And in that vein, before I get too far into this video, I'm going to put up a big forewarning and content warning.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely are.
I'm going to be talking about some really horrific and hard stuff in this video.
I mean, listen, say what you want about Vosh, but he was right when he's tweeted out after this shooting that the vibes had changed, and they have. They have. Now, there's a difference between the anticipation of shooting trans people from all this stochastic terrorism and then it actually happening, because the vibes have definitely changed. It went from a theoretical happening or theoretical action to happening, to something that's real, that we witnessed.
Specifically surrounding the recent mass shooting here in Colorado Springs in the United States, as well as a lot of the rhetoric and fallout that has happened from that event, and personally my own feelings as a trans and queer person about that event that I am sure many of us in the queer community are feeling right now.
Yeah, we'll get to Matt Walsh too.
And so if that's something that you cannot handle at the moment. And
I want to emphasize this before I show this. I want people to understand this man is high as fuck. This man is on whatever drugs, well, I don't, meth, cocaine. So he's not in his right mind. It is heartless, but this man's cracked the out too. He's been cracked the out from what looks like his entire life. He's a massive tweaker.
You know, there are multiple people, right. And then they were on going to find it's a gay bar.
Yeah, right. And
this man's not doing well. 20 years? Yeah, this man's brain is cooked.
Like, oh my God, is he gay? I was scared of, oh my God, shit, is he gay? And he's not gay, so it's
well, you guys had conversations about that. You were.
Oh yeah,
you told him. Yeah, you were adamant that gay is bad.
I'm Mormon. I'm a conservative Republican. And we don't do gay.
He's not. This man's not okay.
I can't get answers from the attorneys really, but they're saying that somebody's, it's involving a gay bar or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what the heck he did at a gay bar.
He doesn't even know what his son did. He doesn't even know what the fuck is happening. He doesn't even know what's happening. Listen to him. He doesn't even know what the fuck is happening. Listen.
Gay bar or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what the heck he did at a gay bar.
He doesn't even know. Almost mumbling erratic speech. Yeah, jittery disposition.
Well, he's accused of going on a mass shooting at a gay bar and killing 5 people.
Colorado.
Okay, well, that's shit. If he's accused of doing that, I'm glad he's not gay.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'd say that, but I'm glad he's not gay.
His face. This man's like cracked the out, okay?
Had you taught him more tolerance, let me be direct. Do you think, he would have been more tolerant of gay people? Apparently.
I think that my anti-gay, anti-Semitic, they come from writing. I'm a conservative extraordinaire, and I've been very vocal about that. I support Randy Vopel, his grandpa. I love Randy Vopel. He's a good American.
Shooter's grandpa?
Randy who?
Randy Vopel.
Randy. Randy.
That's a good man right there. That's the best man for the job.
So Randy Vopel, by the way, is a member of the GOP. He was a California state representative. That's his grandfather.
The reason that I am currently not in my normal surroundings, as many of you may have already noticed, I am not in my usual set. And that is because, since it is Thanksgiving here in the United States, I have gone traveling to go visit my family. And I'm very lucky as a queer person to have family that accepts me and that I get to spend time around, even though they can certainly annoy the hell out of me, as they do many of us, that they are loving and very accepting. And I'll come back to why that's super important in this discussion in just a minute. But even more pertinently, where I had to travel to see my family was Colorado Springs. I'm not there right now, so if any of you are worried about my safety, I have since traveled from there. But last night and most of yesterday, I spent all day in Colorado Springs. And I drove by the site of the shooting, and I have to say...
Wow.
Look, this wasn't my specific community. I'm not from Colorado Springs, but this was my community in the sense that this was the queer community that was attacked. And I can't tell you how much it hurts to see that. To be at a site of such violence and hatred being enacted in the name of that hate. Against my community and against people like me for being like me. It left me scared to just be in this area. And I know, I'm not going out, I'm hanging out with family, staying in a hotel and everything. So, I'm probably not in any danger really. But you just feel it, this sense of being unsafe, even traveling as a trans person, anywhere in the United States, but particularly this area, I felt like, am I gonna be attacked, harassed, harmed? I certainly got looks, as I was traveling, but luckily nothing bad happened. But just that air of feeling unsafe. I can't even imagine what it's like for the community here in Colorado Springs, the queer community in Colorado Springs. But I know all of us in the queer community are feeling, because this fear that we all feel right now is a direct result of the growing rhetoric against the trans and LGBTQ community in the United States right now. And I'll talk more about that in just a second, and my anger at that. But even more importantly, we all feel this pain in the queer community because this is our family. Like I said, I am lucky enough to be with family members right now who do accept me. But for many queer people, they don't have that. And we find our family and our love and our community with other queer people. So when one person attacks one of us, we all feel it because all of these people are our family. We are close in that way. And even me, who, I am lucky enough to have a family that accepts me, they don't really understand me in a lot of ways. They know I'm a Trekkie and all that stuff. But, whenever I talk about trans issues or things that affects me, they sort of have this glossy look over their eye. Even when I talk about the Colorado Springs shooting and my feelings on it, to them yesterday, they sort of got this, glassy look in their eye. Not that they didn't care, they certainly cared, but it's more of an abstract thing for them. Or if it does feel close to home, it's in a way that, like so many people, feel unsafe in the United States because of the constantly rising gun violence in this country, which is certainly something, all of us do feel, certainly. And it's not something to dismiss, but in this specific case, this was something that was stoked. For very specific reasons, with the rising rhetoric against the LGBTQ community in the United States. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, because beyond my feelings of unsafeness and sadness and pain, there's an anger. And that anger grew even more last night when I was going online and seeing the responses to this event by certain public figures and people with platforms and right-wing figures who have helped stoke the very violence that caused this man to enact violence against the LGBTQ community. It absolutely terrifies and angers me that we see so many of the responses now to this shooting event have not been the typical thoughts and prayers that the wasted words of many politicians and especially Republicans and conservatives in power give us. No, the rhetoric has changed to being that queer people deserved this. You see so many now feel so open about the fact that they have vilified trans people and the LGBTQ community so much that they can just openly say, like, yeah, blame us for our own murders. And this
Which they are doing. They're specifically saying, well, don't have these drag shows then if you don't want to get shot. Don't be openly queer if you don't want to get shot. They're just saying it. I think Matt Walsh came out and said it. They're just finally leaning into it because it's so accepted.
It goes from people in extreme heights of power to the lowest dregs of people. I'm going to show, and I'm going to forewarn you because I need to show you this just because I need you to feel my anger, but please skip ahead if this is something that you can't handle right now, even amidst this really hard topic. You know, you see people like Matt Walsh, who I've spoken about in other videos, blaming the victims for being murdered.
Yes.
According to the left,
yes, here it
the
is.
drag queen child combination has become dangerous. They say it's a lightning rod for violent backlash. Right? That's what they say. And it's greatly exaggerated, of course. Mostly it's invented out of whole cloth, actually, but
of course she is. Girl keep gaslight.
But even by their version of events,
Gatekeep,
if it's causing this much chaos and violence, why do you insist on continuing to do it?
Oh,
if according to you, it's like putting people's lives at risk.
This is such an insane thing to say.
If the effort to have men cross-dress in front of children is putting people's lives at risk, why are you still doing it? Is it that important to you?
You see people like The Quartering and Steven Crowder and Tim Pool using this same sort of rhetoric. It's like, oh, well, they were grooming children, so what do you think is supposed to be done in response to that? Saying that this disgusting violence used against the trans community and the LGBT community was justified in any way, shape, or form. And that's because they have created this rhetoric and mindset and lies around our community, saying that trying to be our best selves, trying to live our lives the way that we choose to is somehow inherently sexual, dehumanized, grooming children. When all we're trying to do is trying to fight for our own lives, our own bodily autonomy, our right to be happy, and fight for others in our community to do the same. To fight for our ability to just be happy. And these people say all of this without any understanding about our community and how we live our lives. God, to think that we have the energy to try to be grooming the children and trying to manipulate society with our trans agenda.
The enemy is both strong and weak at the same time. They're both snowflakes and grooming children and manipulating society.
Really able to try and get anything else done besides doing like shit. You know?
What?
Or like what these clubs and bars actually are, which is just us trying to find community, trying to have a little bit of fun. They blame like, oh, drag shows are sexualizing the children.
Like, drag shows are sexualizing the children, but people have no problem bringing kids to Hooters. That's fine, right? Like, that shit's cool.
It terrifies me to know that, like, that just spending a night with my friends hanging out could be interrupted with such violence. It makes me scared to go out.
Pageants, child marriages, Hooters, all good, drag queens, little, yeah.
And yet, I know
as long as other waiters are trans,
that fear
yeah,
is what many of these people stoking these rhetorics want. For us to feel so scared that we don't want to go out in public anymore. All the fear that I was describing earlier is exactly what they want. They want to scare us into not being publicly visible and use plausible deniability and scapegoating in order to try to hide the fact that that's what they want. Us to feel like we aren't allowed to be in public, allowed to be anywhere, allowed to be ourselves. disgusting and horrifying, and it shows a complete lack of understanding of how queer people live our lives. When I go out to a queer bar, I'm just a weird dork just trying to have a few drinks and rant about, Star Trek novels with my friends. That's what I do. And you see it all the way up to people who have some of the biggest platforms right now. I saw a clip that absolutely anchored me and horrified me from Tucker Carlson. And not that I expected anything different from Tucker Carlson, but quite literally the clip was someone coming onto his program and saying, well, this type of violence isn't going to stop until they stop grooming children.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it shouldn't have to be said.
By the way, this is Gays Against Groomers. This is the person who runs the Gays Against Groomers account.
It's anti-LGBTQ that these people need to understand, and what is putting our community in great danger is, claiming that all of us support this and just associating all of us with this. Saying that groomer is an anti-LGBTQ slur. That is doing irreparable damage to us as a whole, and it's putting a really large target on our backs. And unfortunately, the tragedy that happened in Colorado Springs the other night, it was expected and predictable. We all, within Gays Against Groomers, saw this coming from a mile away. Yeah. And sadly, I don't think it's going to stop until we end this evil.
That's so insane. Yeah, we're going to keep shooting innocent people.
That is attacking children.
And by grooming children, they mean giving trans affirmative care to children so that we can help them live their best lives so they don't die because they aren't given the affirming care that they need to be able to live their lives free from mental health issues, from suicidal thoughts, and much more. This care is saving lives. So by saying this type of violence isn't going to stop until you stop grooming children, and you mean that, what you're saying is that either way you are calling for our deaths. You are calling for our deaths in a slow way by just denying us the basic care for our ability to live our lives, or you're going to stoke up violence against us and vilify us so much that you're going to cause people to feel like they have no other option but to enact violence against the trans community. And I am not trying to remove blame from this shooter who enacted this horrific violence in the name of these rhetorics. But this violence was stoked and caused by people constantly and continually ramping up their rhetoric against the trans community and the LGBTQ community specifically, calling us groomers, calling us, sexualized fetishists and deviants, and people just trying out here to destroy society. Once you have built up rhetoric to that level, what other choice do people feel like they have than to enact violence?
I mean, they also say something has to be done about this. Something has to be done about this. Fucking Tim Pool himself was like, gee, something has to be done about this. They constantly end most of their anti-trans tweets with, nothing's being done about this, nothing's being done about this, gee, why won't someone do anything about this? But not stochastic terrorism also. I also want to address something, okay? I might have said this before, but I'll say it again. What the right loves to do is steal what the left says constantly. From our bodies, our choice with the vaccines to a number of other things. Everything, they pretty much steal everything. What we might see in the future, is the right stealing the stochastic terrorism label and calling everything on the left stochastic terrorism. Just something to keep in mind. They might try to adopt that to kind of delegitimize it even more. Because right now they're like dismissing it. They're like, oh, there's this thing called stochastic terrorism. What they might start doing is just straight up being like, oh, they call us stochastic terrorists. But look what they're saying. Look what they're doing. And so on and so forth. They're already doing it. They're calling the left stochastic terrorists.
Stochastic terrorism that folks like Matt Walsh and others continually use. And they will try to wash their hands of it, saying like, well, we didn't call for this, but you have seen these people and again stoke this violence. We saw it with Matt Walsh calling for the harassment of people at Boston Children's Hospital, leading to a bomb threat against Boston Children's Hospital. You can no longer, once something like that happens, you can no longer wash your hands and deny, like, I didn't know that could possibly happen, because now you know, and yet you continue to do it. So what does that tell us what your intention is? Not that we didn't know beforehand, but you cannot wash your hands of us, even they will try every single possible way to deny responsibility in these events. I spoke about this in my Matt Walsh video that I did about What is a Woman. That film and a lot of Matt Walsh's rhetoric and a lot of right-wing rhetoric against trans people nowadays is quite literally calling for violence against trans people in the name of trying to fill their wallets, in the name of trying to hold on to their power and pitting people against each other. It's gross and disgusting, and it pisses me off so much. And I know we're all feeling it right now. It's why I want to make this video, because if I don't share this anger and pain and grief, it will consume me, and I need it to be heard. And I'm upset that I have to do this, especially during this week when I'm supposed to be seeing my family. I haven't seen some of my family members in years. But I can't focus on that fully and feel like I'm being with them fully because I am feeling the pain of my community right now. And I am lucky that I am insulated and protected from it in many different ways by my privilege in the economy where I live in Seattle and things like that. But I still feel it. And I can't imagine it for people who live in much more vulnerable situations, be it location or just people that they have to live with, their families who live in this rhetoric all the time. This is what this leads to. And like I said before, it is getting worse because they feel no sense of shame about it anymore. It's no longer thoughts and prayers. It's these people deserved it. And what frustrates me most is I can't be as angry as I want to be on this platform, on YouTube, because you know that if I did the same thing that they said about us, if I sexualized them in any way, and we saw it with my recent YouTube controversy about the Matt Walsh video, I would be the one getting a community violation, even though they do it all the time. These people are allowed these platforms to say these all the time. One of the most publicly viewed Fox News programs on television. Matt Walsh, with over almost 2 million subscribers on this platform, is allowed to keep saying this bullshit over and over and over again. So what I will say is this. I wish upon these people everything that they wish upon the queer community. And if that statement, by the way, gets me hit with a community violation, then you are tacitly admitting what this rhetoric is for. If that rhetoric, if me saying I wish upon them what they wish upon us is tantamount to violating, like calling for violence or anything like that, which I'm not saying it is, just to be clear. But if that is a community violation to say that, then you have tacitly admitted that that is what their rhetoric is about calling for violence against us. Because that's, you know, I can't even say that. I'm scared to say that because then it would possibly get me a community strike or whatever. Pisses me off.
Love her.
That I have to constantly couch my anger and pain. I'm not allowed to express it.
Yep.
I'm not allowed to feel it without... I'm sorry. I have notes that I wanted to get through in this video, but this video just hurts. And I just needed to make it so I could get it off my chest so that I could go and be with my family for Thanksgiving and not have this circling in my brain. And I hope it was cathartic for all of you because it was helpful to me to say all of this. I'm going to be honest, it's been very hard as a creator these past few months. I've been having a lot of anxiety and panic attacks.
Wow.
Because it's like, why? I want to work to find joy, but I also want to fight back. And I know finding joy is fighting back in a lot of cases. And I still will, and I have videos that I'm planning on doing that will be fun. And I have a video coming out about Star Wars Andor in a few weeks. Be on the lookout for that. I'm very excited about it. But
there was a moment, and I guess this is semi-related. So I read a book a couple years ago about a French spy who had one of the largest spy networks in France. There was a moment in the book where it's Christmas time and she invites a bunch of spies over, like her own spies from the spy network over to celebrate Christmas. This was like deep in World War II, by the way. This was like right in the middle of World War II. And I always kind of like, I always like reflected on that because like even deep in World War II, people paused to do some form of happiness and celebration. And I think that is so necessary. The shooter was part of the LGBTQ community. No, they weren't. No, he wasn't. They have dug through all of his history, and not 1 ounce of his history where he has talked about, or a family member or friend has talked about him being non-binary. It's just coming up now after he shot some trans people and gay people and queer people. That's how I can say it's a lie. And you know that. I've looked through his history. Not an ounce of it. Yeah, there's been no history of him being non-binary until after he shot queer people. There were no instances of transgender non-binary coming out due to fear. You just invented that. You just made that up. And I know you're lying. I know you're lying. You know you're lying. I will repeat myself since you like to ignore it. There's no history of it from friends or family talking about it. I found cup sources.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Literally. This was right after the shooting, by the way. Herschel Walker came out with an advertisement targeting transgender athletes.
I'm Riley Gaines, a 12-time
Dude, she was 5th place, by the way. This fucking stupid ass loser was 5th place, tied. 5th place tied. 5th place tied. 5th place tied.
AA All-American.
And I'm Herschel Walker.
For more than a decade, I worked so hard. 4 a.m. practices to be the best. But my senior year...
Then fucking get better! Okay, you chose a career in a profession where you have to try and try and try. I didn't, okay? So I can sit here from the sidelines and say, you fucking suck, you dumbass loser, okay? Blaming a trans woman for being 5th place? You are psychotic.
I was forced to compete against a biological male.
Literally, sore-ass loser.
That's unfair and wrong.
A man won the swimming title that belonged to a woman.
Like it belonged to a woman. Okay, you still would have lost. Maybe you would have been 4th place.